Today we are taking a look at the Lenovo Ideapad Gaming 3 laptop. Having spent 2 weeks with this laptop, I am very excited to share everything I know about this laptop with you. I also have more gaming laptop reviews and gaming related content coming up, so make sure you are subscribed for that. This laptop is the successor to Lenovo's L340 series from 2019. And it competes with the likes of HP Pavilion Gaming, the Acer Aspire and Nitro series, and the Asus TUF series in the budget category of gaming laptops. What's new to this year is that Lenovo has brought several design improvements over the L340, as well as introduced the AMD Ryzen processors into this chassis. There is also the Ideapad Gaming 3i, which means that it has an Intel processor inside. The configuration I have tested will be the AMD version of this laptop with a Ryzen 4000 Series H processor and an entry-level Nvidia GTX 1650 graphics card. The retail box that the laptop comes with is quite thin. Inside you will find the power charger. Considering this only outputs 135 watts, this charger is quite chunky compared to what HP ships with their Pavilion Gaming 15. Apart from the charger, there are the usual quick start guides included in the box. The Ideapad Gaming 3 has a standard 15.6-inch panel size. Dimensions are pretty standard for a gaming laptop. The laptop itself weighs around 2.2 kilos or 4.8 pounds. There are two color options. Lenovo calls it Onyx Black and Chameleon Blue. The one I am testing is the Onyx Black. It has a classic all-black plastics construction build. The bottom has a muted look and the lid looks a bit glossy when you hold it against a light source. Ideapad Gaming branding on the rear side. On the right side it looks very clean as well, with just a single USB port and the exhaust vent. Majority of ports are located on the left side. The smooth surface is prone to collect fingerprints, but it is also easy to clean it with a microfiber cloth. We just recently hit over 400 subscribers for this channel. Thank you so much to all of you who have supported this channel so far by subscribing. I truly appreciate and value every one of you who subscribes to the channel, and I read every comment that you post. I am super excited to bring more content to all of you who watch my videos. I hope we can reach 700 subscribers together before the end of this year. Let's look at the keyboard. This is seriously one of the best keyboard experiences out there for a sub-$1,000 gaming laptop. Lenovo has a long tradition of making some of the best keyboards in the industry ever since they acquired the ThinkPad brand. With the Ideapad Gaming 3, Lenovo has brought together some of the best keyboard technologies to their budget gaming laptops. I recently reviewed the HP Pavilion Gaming 15 notebook, and I had praised the keyboard on that machine. However, on the HP, keys felt a bit soft. With the Ideapad Gaming, each keystroke has a distinctive feeling and keys are very tactile with 1.5 mm of key travel. And because the keys are slightly curved, my fingers can quickly find the correct places on the keyboard. No RGB lighting on this keyboard, but you will find the blue-colored backlit adjustable to 2 levels of dimming. This is done by holding down the function key, plus hitting the spacebar on the keyboard. This keyboard beats out the Pavilion Gaming 15 and certainly much better compared to the Asus TUF A15's keyboard. This is my new favorite keyboard on budget gaming laptops under $1,000. Trackpad on this device is bigger than your average notebook. It uses Windows Precision drivers. I don't normally use the trackpad as I prefer a regular mouse, so all I have to say is that the trackpad worked okay with no issues. There are two 1.5 watt speakers on the Pavilion. These are located under the laptop, so you can't really see them, but they are bottom firing. Sound quality and level are okay. It sounds like your average gaming laptop speakers. However, if you plan to game a lot with this laptop, I will recommend a pair of headphones. The fan noise is substantial, as you will see later. More and more manufacturers are jumping on the Ryzen wagon this year. And that's unsurprising. With outstanding performance to cost ratio, a significant power advantage over Intel's 10th gen CPUs, resulting in superior battery life, AMD has not only overtaken the performance leadership this year, but has achieved it through lower costs versus competition. Ideapad Gaming 3 offers the excellent R5-4600H, a 6-core 12-thread CPU, and R7-4800H, which is an 8-core, 12-thread CPU option. If you still want Intel, the Ideapad Gaming 3i will offer either the 4-core, 8-threaded 10th Gen i5-10300H or the 6-core, 12-threaded i7-10750H CPU. My unit came with only a single 8GB RAM stick installed, but you can upgrade this laptop down the road with another 8GB RAM to get dual channel setup, as this laptop provides 2 physical slots for memory. Same goes for the storage. My unit only had a 256GB NVMe SSD, which is way too small as many games take up 50GB or more. Luckily, you can upgrade with either a mechanical SATA drive or another NVMe SSD. The SSD and the mechanical drive share the same space inside the laptop, so you can only choose one to upgrade. Graphics: the Ideapad is limited to only a GTX 1650 or GTX 1650 Ti graphics option. So that is one area where Lenovo has separated the Ideapad lineup from the higher tier Legion series by limiting the stock configuration available to the user. Another way the Ideapad has been restricted is the display choice. There are only 2 options. You have to choose between a 60 Hz or a 120 Hz full HD IPS panel display. Both have anti-glare treatment and are rated at 250 nits brightness, which is quite common for gaming laptops in the price range. 250 nits is absolutely bare minimum to be used indoors. 300 nits or higher is preferred in my opinion. Outdoor visibility is not the greatest with this laptop, especially under bright sunlight. This is not the most ideal panel to be used for photo editing, as it only covers 63% sRGB and 47% of Adobe RGB gamut. But for gaming and regular use, not involving color accuracy, I think this panel is sufficient. The panel looks better compared to both the Pavilion Gaming 15 and the Asus TUF A15 I have reviewed earlier. Check the card above for those reviews. The charger only delivers 135 watts of power, but it is relatively chunky and heavy at 450 grams. In comparison, the HP Pavilion Gaming 15's charger could deliver 150 watts, and yet it was both slimmer and 33% lighter, compared to the power brick delivered by Lenovo. There is a 720p HD webcam built in, and Lenovo has included a mechanical privacy shutter, which is a neat feature. This is a nice detail not seen on too many other brands. Wi-Fi is another area where the different platforms separate from each other. With the Intel version of Ideapad Gaming 3, you will get Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5. With the AMD version of this laptop, you will only get the older Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 5. Upgrading this laptop is possible by removing 10 Phillips head screws to remove the bottom cover. On the right side we can find a single USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A port and the exhaust vent. The left side has almost all the ports. The charge port is a proprietary one. There is a status indicator showing if the notebook is being charged. Gigabit Ethernet, full-sized HDMI 2.0 connector, USB 3.2 Gen 1 type of port, USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-C port, 3.5mm audio combo jack and status LED. The USB Type-C port does not support display output, and it does not charge the laptop either. It can only be used to transfer data. No Thunderbolt 3. With the Ideapad Gaming laptop comes the Lenovo Vantage Software. Within the app, you can monitor things like your CPU speed, how much RAM you are currently consuming, and how much storage space you have left. You can also change the thermal mode settings from the default quiet mode to balanced mode or performance mode. Other useful features include the System Update tool. It keeps track of all your recent updates for BIOS and Windows. With a couple of clicks you will have the latest files installed, all done by the Vantage software. Within the Power Management tool, you can see your battery status, and also activate rapid charge, or if you want to conserve your battery there is a toggle for that as well. In the media settings you can set things like eye care, to adjust the temperature of the screen, similar to night mode on phones. You can also adjust the webcam settings such as brightness, contrast, and auto exposure. My unit had the R5-4600H CPU, 256GB SSD storage, 8GB DDR4 single-channel memory running at 3200 MHz, a 1650 graphics card from Nvidia, and a 60Hz Full HD panel. For comparison, I have included a similarly spec'd laptop from HP. The HP Pavilion Gaming 15, which I recently reviewed on the channel. You may pause the video at any time if you wish to compare. Cinebencher 15. Single core scored 177 points and multi-core scored 1409 points. OpenGL scored 94 frames per second. Cinebencher 20. Single core scored 455 points and multi-core scored 3250 points. These results are very good for the Ryzen processor. Basically, it can rival the 10th Gen Intel i7 in raw CPU performance. The R5 might just be the best valued mobile CPU in this generation. Moving on to gaming tests. All games were tested in 1080p resolution, at ultra settings with VSync disabled. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is typically a very demanding title and requires a lot from your PC hardware. We can see from the top left-hand number that the GPU is running at 75 degrees Celsius and is fully utilized by the game. CPU usage was around 50%. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the CPU temperature. The results using Assassin's Creed's built-in benchmark came in at 28 frames per second, which was 1 frame per second lower compared to HP Pavilion Gaming 3 with the same CPU and GPU. Batman Arkham Knight scored 46 frames per second in the game's built-in benchmark. This game is less demanding compared to Assassin's Creed. We can observe that the CPU wasn't being utilized to the max as the GPU was doing most of the heavy lifting. Temperatures stayed around 70 degrees Celsius. Compared to the HP Pavilion Gaming 3, with the same CPU and GPU, the Ideapad Gaming 3 scored 1 frame per second lower. Deus Ex Mankind Divided followed a very similar pattern. GPU temperature stayed around 70 degrees Celsius, while being maxed out at close to 100%. At ultra settings, Ideapad Gaming 3 scored an average of 37 frames per second in the built-in benchmark, again 1 frame per second lower compared to the HP laptop. F1 2018 was also tested using the built-in benchmark. The 1650 graphics card inside the Ideapad Gaming 3 was running slightly hotter compared to other games, peaking at 75 degrees Celsius. The average frames rate came in at 64 frames per second, which is 1 frame per second lower in average compared to the HP Pavilion Gaming 15. Far Cry 5. Peak temperature for the GPU hit 72 degrees Celsius. Average results in ultra settings rendered 54 frames per second for the Ideapad Gaming 3. Once again 1 frame per second lower in average compared to the HP Pavilion 15. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is another very demanding title, and requires quite good hardware to be able to run the higher settings smoothly. Graphics card temperature was staying around 70 degrees Celsius, while the GPU usage was pegged at 100%. Using the built-in benchmark and ultra settings, Ideapad Gaming 3 averaged 41 frames per second. Total War: Three Kingdoms managed to score 28 frames per second in the game's built-in benchmark score. Analyzing the results from all games, we can see that the 1650 is basically a card for medium to high settings at 1080p resolution. It will run most PC games fine with good frame rates, if you settle for lower graphics quality. Esports games like Fortnite, CSGO, Valorant and Overwatch can all be played with very high settings with the 1650 card and still maintain a solid 60 frames per second. As you can see, there weren't big differences between the HP and the Lenovo system, and it shouldn't be as they were running on almost identical hardware. So choosing a laptop will come down to the things that matter to your specific usage scenario. Thermals. This laptop has either a 1650 or 1650 Ti graphics card. Neither of them will overheat your system under load, and during my tests the computer got warm, but never exceedingly hot. The hot spots for this laptop are in the usual places, the area just beneath the display. Most noticeably to the right section close to the exhaust vent. The keyboard and the palm rest area were relatively cool. In terms of noise level, I registered only 29 decibels in silent mode, which is barely audible. When playing games, this was louder, 41 decibels in the highest performance mode. Overall not bad. I have definitely experienced much worse when it comes to fan noise on gaming laptops. The battery capacity is only 45 watt-hours, which is quite small for a 15-inch laptop. Lenovo is claiming up to 5 hours. I didn't quite get that much out of my unit. I did a battery test where I streamed a YouTube video over Wi-Fi with 50% screen brightness. The Ideapad lasted me 3 hours and 15 minutes. Playing Fortnite in an online battle royale match lasted just 80 minutes. Lenovo also advertises Rapid Charge, which they claim charges the notebook from 0 to 80% in 1 hour. I did this test. Going from a depleted battery to 80% charge took me 90 minutes. So not quite as advertised, at least in my testing conditions. Some reviewers have claimed they don't see a point of the Ideapad Gaming 3 due to the existence of the Lenovo Legion 5. I have a different view to those arguments. Sure, the Legion 5 is a better product in more than one way, but it also costs more. To me, I think there is a clear distinction between the Ideapad Gaming and the Legion series, and Lenovo has made that distinction clearly by separating the two product lines in terms of hardware, design, features and pricing. With the Ideapad Gaming 3, they made a more affordable product with less extra features. But it is a good enough product to make me want to use it and recommend it, and it is certainly a much improved upgrade over last year's L340. Pros for this laptop. Great keyboard experience, nice and large arrow keys, properly spaced out keys with physical numpad. The IPS display may not cover the full RGB color gamut, but to me it looks decent enough. I have enjoyed playing countless hours of Fortnite on this display. The SSD is very fast and the whole system feels snappy and responsive when downloading games to the drive, copying files between an external SSD to the internal SSD, or installing apps. Apart from the wobbly LCD panel, the rest of the chassis feels robust and well built. There is minimum flexing on the keyboard area. I like the implementation of the physical camera switch for privacy concerns. There are many things to like about this laptop other than the low price. Things I dislike about this laptop. The power brick is chunky and looks old-fashioned. No built-in SD card reader. The battery life and the rapid charge feature did not work as advertised. Things which don't bother me, but might be an issue for other people. No RGB backlit keyboard with multiple colors. No charging via USB-C. No Thunderbolt 3, and no DisplayPort via USB-C connector. Other than that, if you are in the hunt for a clean, classic-looking gaming laptop with solid performance, good build quality, with an amazing keyboard experience, you should totally consider the Ideapad Gaming 3. I am seeing more and more Ryzen-based gaming laptop options out there from manufacturers. Last year, only Asus offered gaming laptops with Ryzen CPUs. This year the other brands such as Acer, HP, Lenovo, and MSI are jumping on the AMD wagon as well. This will create more competition not only amongst laptop manufacturers, but also between Intel and AMD, pushing each other to bring better products to the market. Ultimately, the winners will be the consumers. With that, I am wrapping up this review. I am glad you enjoyed watching it. Like the video if you liked it, leave a comment if you have questions or just want to comment. I have got more exciting laptop review videos coming soon, so make sure you are subscribed for that. See you next time. And remember, gaming begins here, at the Gen X Reviews channel.